yo, Steve here. Welcome back to Ask WrestleJuice Addendum Edition. That's right. Yesterday on Ask WrestleJuice, towards the end of the video, I pulled the question from the thread from Combat Films Hunter 6511. And he said, what is more likely to happen? Tony Khan selling AEW or WWE buying TNA? And my answer went like this. What would happen if WWE bought TNA? And then it just cut and it moved on to the next question. Because here's the thing about WWE buying TNA. We'll end on this one, Skylar. And it was honestly, it was just sort of a goof up on my part. I mean, obviously I didn't mean to put it in there. I actually had recorded a pretty extensive answer to it, which I've kind of revised. I'm going to revise in this video. But my 4K camera stopped recording and all I had was the backup 1080 it was just all of a sudden a lower resolution. I like to film these as much as I can, as often as I can in 4K, so you guys can see every goddamn pore on my face. On this old wrinkled leathery face, you can see every little look at all these cracks right here. This is decades of laughter, people. So anyways, the recording stopped, and so I had to do a little bit of editing, and unfortunately I didn't go back and quality check my shit, which I'll be honest with you guys, I rarely do. I'm the kind of guy who just records stuff and then it goes out there. Anyways, I thought, because a bunch of you realized this and in the comments were like, wait a second, I want your answer. But nope, just like Thanos. You should have gone for the head. Snapping it out of existence. Question and the answer disappeared. Dithered away, if you will, just like Thanos would do. Anyways, I thought I would go ahead and answer it here on this addendum video because fuck it, why not? You guys get what you want, an answer to the question, and I get what I want, more content for the channel. This is WrestleJuice. Do what we want to do around here. All right? So, what's more likely? Tony Khan with AEW or WWE buying TNA? The case for WWE buying TNA is actually a pretty decent one. I would think if it came down to those two things, WWE, I don't think either is likely to happen. WWE is more likely to buy TNA than AEW is to be sold by Tony Khan. That's just my gut. I don't think I'm on the outside looking in. And here's why I think these things. Right now, Forbes has valued AEW at I think it was $2 billion. I find it difficult to believe that anybody would pay $2 billion for a company whose name value has only been established for about 5 years and is not even close to being a real competitor to WWE. In several metrics, you could consider it a competitor in terms of them being able to jack up WWE's talent prices because AEW is a competitor for talent. The fortunes of pro wrestling can turn on a dime like that. Just look at the 90s where WCW was and then where they were compared to where WWF was and then vice versa. So I thoroughly believe that if something happened, if Triple H got tired of all this shit and decided to leave and he took HBK with him and they hired Joe Blow to run creative and it just sucked, AEW would have a really good opportunity. And similarly, if Tony Khan hired Martin Scorsese to run AEW, maybe it would be really, really fucking good. I doubt it. He's a filmmaker. I don't know how much he knows about wrestling, but you know what I mean. If Tony Khan hired a proper booker and just the creative was outstanding, then you would see the ratings change for both shows, just like we saw in the 90s, and you'd see the fortunes change for both companies to a degree. WWE is always going to be sort of the Xerox. Even when it was really bad in 2019, it still outpaced AEW in the ratings by a fair shot. But anything is possible when it comes to, hey, this is really good, and hey, this is really bad. More people will tune in to the thing that's good, and et cetera, et cetera. But right now, I don't see AEW actually being a company that's worth $2 billion because I find it difficult to believe anybody would pay $2 billion for a pro wrestling company that isn't WWE. I understand they've got TV contracts. I get that. And they've got a revenue stream that, some company can come by and be like, oh, wow, look at that. But to start a new wrestling company from the ground up without the baggage of AEW, also without the history of AEW and without the name value of AEW, I feel like for I don't know, 10% of that. 10% of $2 billion for $200 million, which is like double what AEW started with. I think they started like with a budget of like $100 million. You could build yourself a pretty damn good pro wrestling company. Pretty good competitive one too. Now, would it be immediately with those TV contracts? Maybe not. I just don't know that somebody would look at AEW and be like, oh yeah, $2 billion. I'll make my money back in 10 years on that. I find it difficult to believe. I'm on the outside looking in. Plus, on top of that, AEW is like a passion project for Tony Khan. I kind of feel like if AEW hadn't got that big TV deal and they were running in the red for like, I don't know, 5 more years, like Tony Khan, he comes from a billionaire family. Like losing $50 million a year is basically like me losing $1,000 a year. It's probably even worse than that because once you get into the billions, it's ridiculous, the math there. So I just don't see Tony Khan parting ways with AEW. I don't see it unless he really had a fall. Unless, like, you know, he pissed off Brian Cage backstage and Brian Cage powerbombed him, gave him a drill claw, and he just completely got freaked out by that. But we kind of saw that with the CM Punk thing, and it didn't scare Tony Khan away. He seems to really, really, really love owning AEW. So I just don't see that happening. On the other side, WWE, I could see there being an incentive for them wanting to do that whole global localization thing that Triple H had talked about all those years ago. You see it now with them venturing into the independent ranks, you know, with the WWE ID thing, them signing, what do they have, like 20 independent wrestlers that they're going to be putting under contract. So they're already sort of diving into it. And here's the thing about AEW. One of AEW's strengths has always been their ability to build relationships and exploit relationships with other pro wrestling companies. And if WWE decided all of a sudden to like, hey, we're going to buy a potential partner and former partner for AEW in TNA, granted, they wouldn't need, like somebody in the comments pointed out, WWE wouldn't need to buy TNA because they're already, to a degree, exploiting them. And I think in a manner that seemingly is benefiting both companies. But they're exploiting a partnership with TNA for their benefit. And why would they pay for a company if, like, they're already getting what they want out of it? To potentially rob AEW of a future collaboration. Let's say WWE and TNA have a really fruitful relationship. That's not based on any contracts at all. Just sort of like a, hey, we're going to do this talent trade thing. I would imagine there's probably some contract between them, but I don't know if this thing is like locked in stone. And at some point, TNA was like, you know what? Feels like we've milked all we can out of this relationship. AEW, we worked with them before. Time to go explore those options as well again. WWE might not be too happy about that because they're part of the process of TNA building up their brand right now. They get the WWE NXT love. That helps TNA, and TNA has the cool factor. NXT has the cool factor because they got some really great talents coming in from TNA, and they'll probably end up signing, for example, Joe Hendry and Jordan Grace. Jordan Grace maybe sooner than later. So there is the possibility that WWE want to be like, hey, wait a second. We could plunk down, I don't know what TNA is worth, 20 mil, 50 mil, 100 mil. WWE has that money. We could plunk that down. Plus, we can make that back. Netflix is willing to pay us $25 million more a year for TNA programming on Wednesdays. Okay. We'll go ahead and do that. Why not? We got the money floating around. We can do whatever we want. We're WWE. We're TKO. We got a lot of money. We got The Rock. The Rock's going to show up at Bound for Glory. So they do that, and they've got TNA contracts, which, dude, bring Moose and Josh Alexander over to NXT right now. They need to bolster their men's division. So WWE could do that with TNA. I could see that as being something that might be enticing to them. And then maybe they'd look at some of other AEW partners, like, I don't know, talk to Bushiroad about New Japan Pro Wrestling or Stardom or something like that. Let's get some other relationships. I could see Triple H wanting to be the end-all be-all, for no other reason than to rob AEW of something that they pride themselves on, and that's, hey, let's do the Forbidden Door thing. If WWE took away the New Japan and, like, I don't know, CMLL, they would never sell. But if WWE started taking away potential partners for AEW, I could see how WWE would find that an enticing prospect. because it's sort of hurting their competition, and that's kind of what you want to do, I guess, if you're WWE. Not as a consumer, I don't want to see that happen, but I could see WWE seeing that as a low risk, potentially high reward situation for them. So I see that more than I see Tony Khan selling AEW. So there you go. Hey, look at that. I milked a good 10 minutes out of this video. Nice. You guys got what you want, and I got that YouTube revenue coming in. Anyways, yeah, let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments below. I like putting my camera like wider like this. Like, look at that. You can see like my little light that I have set up to put light there. And then I got the red light there. It sends it over there. And then you can see all the crap. Look at that. I got a bunch of cardboard boxes. Oh, you can literally see my trash can over there. Look at that. That's horrible. That's awful. Anyways, hey, do me a favor, man. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that thumbs up. We'll see you guys around. This video is brought to you by mfshophere.com, otherwise known as the place I'm selling the graphic novels I used to make before I made it on YouTube. That's right, before I became a pro wrestling YouTuber and podcaster, I failed at becoming a comic book artist. And here's the proof of that, now on sale at mfshophere.com.